What's up, guys? We are back. It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith, bringing it to you virtual on quarantine once again. When is this going to be over? I don't know.
I can hear stuff in the background.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to mute my, sorry. Yeah, I don't know when this is going to be over, but hopefully it'll be over soon. You know what I mean? We are a podcast about history, politics, and race and current affairs. Ever since this pandemic hit, we've been covering Covid19 news every week. There's always something new going on and crazy going on with this pandemic. So we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff today. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube. And it's ISENT Group Digital. Subscribe, hit that notification button, follow us on social media. All that information will be in the description. It's rptalktruth@gmail.com if you want to email us. I'm a filmmaker from Trinidad and Tobago, love history, politics, race. Chris is a veteran of the Army Reserve who works for the VA. He also loves the same. Together we're the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith, a.k.a. Crispy, a.k.a. Slimmy.
Slimmy and Crispy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So we always try to tell the truth. It's not about any race. We just try to tell the truth. And we always say the truth offends you. We're sorry, not sorry.
Sorry.
That's what we always say. I was just saying to Smith that I just saw on the news today, breaking news, that Los Angeles County extended their stay-at-home mandate until July. And it's interesting, if you guys, been listening on the podcast, Smith was saying that he thinks it's going to go till July. But in our county here in Riverside and Wine Country, it looks like we're, as of Friday that just passed, they had like this city council meeting, and they actually lifted our mask mandate and our social distancing mandate. So now it's strongly recommended, but it's not mandatory. Now, with that said, a lot of the businesses are still making you wear masks, when you walk into their establishment. So even though the county said that, we have city of Wildomar, Temecula, Marietta, and these businesses are deciding their own rules based on the health of their, business.
Customers and stuff.
Yeah, and customers and stuff like that. So, because again, no one wants to get sued and stuff like that, and that's understandable,
Yeah, and that's
so it's been interesting, Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and that does lead to some people have been hearing on the news some legislation where the Republican Senate is trying to pass something that will reduce the liability of companies, and that's against, I'm sure it's against their employees, but it could potentially be to prevent them from being liable for customers too. So kind of interesting.
Right, that is interesting, man. So yeah, man, we how was your week since I saw you last on here?
Just kind of do the same thing. Home. I did step out last week, that Saturday, and I gotta say, because I went out to just pick up a bottle of wine and take it back, and some wineries looks like it. Just because of the way they're set up, people are taking advantage of the situation, and especially what happened on Friday when they just were out. I mean, social distancing was going on. Maybe a little bit more than half people had masks on.
Right.
But how do you sit at a table, drink wine, and take a mask on and off?
You can't.
And again,
which is why the wineries, they're probably one of the most critical places that have to be so careful. That's the one place that you can't have a mask on. You're sipping wine.
Yeah. And, if you're sitting at a table, or I saw people at tables where they were, half were wearing masks, half weren't. Like within just a group. And so, but other than that, just still sheltering, not really going out too much, for essentials and doing things.
Right.
because I think my feeling is the messages are mixed, and it's confusing people. As soon as you hear, you see pictures of people being out, naturally, if you're a social person, you want to be out there too, or just be out in general.
Yeah.
Instead of being cramped up like we are. But then you, in the back of your mind, like for myself, and I'm reading or just thinking about things, is I know most people haven't been tested. So how does anyone know that they're not asymptomatic or,
exactly.
carrying or just sick and just don't know yet? And it's a concern. And the more and more I've been really just thinking about it long term, it's better to just shelter and watch the guinea pigs test it out and let me know what's going on. Because I don't want to get it if I can avoid it. I don't know where the spectrum of where it will be for me. So
yeah, same thing with me. Exactly. And it's funny, I was watching on the news today that even though the beaches in LA are reopening tomorrow, it's exercise and swimming and stuff only. You can't, and you have to have a mask on, and you can't relax on the beach.
Yeah, no towels, no sitting on the.
Yeah, no sitting. Yeah, because they don't want a big congregation. If you working out or surfing, I guess, or swimming, it's fine. So I guess you got to go, put your towel down, jump in the water, do what you're doing, then leave. You can't sit and chill and have your mask on. I mean, it'll make sense. It makes sense.
I mean, it would be nice if they could say, social distancing as long as you kept a distance from each other. But we know that it won't happen. So it's better for those counties or the beaches to do what they're doing right now. So we'll see how well it works out. But I just feel like it's going to be crazy. People are still going to violate those regulations sometimes. That's the ones that's the part that gets kind of scary.
Man, I have so much on my list, but
let's get to it.
The thing that I'm tripping on now that I'd like your take on that I really didn't realize, and it's so funny because this nurse I used to see, she works at the hospital in San Bernardino. She was telling me, "Oh yeah, I'm furloughed. I mean, there's no work. Like I'm a nurse, but we don't have a bunch of COVID cases. I'm stuck at home. I'm off half the time."
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize was that a lot of these hospitals are like people are not coming in for what they normally would come in for. So if they don't have COVID cases, they're pretty much empty.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that was happening. And then my daughter's mom was telling me that she was hearing that hospitals were reporting COVID deaths that weren't COVID deaths. And I didn't get why at first. And I heard Elon Musk explain it yesterday. You know what I mean? And then I didn't know that if they say they have a COVID death, they get like $30,000 per person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I read that.
Yeah,
or
and I didn't know that.
And then if they ventilate them, no, it's like 18, and then if they ventilate, they get 30 or something like that.
Something
the higher.
Like that. Yeah, but I didn't know these hospitals were going bankrupt, and they were lying about some of the COVID deaths. So not all of them are lies, but let's say they reported 700 died in 24 hours. Maybe 100 of those weren't COVID deaths. You know what I'm saying? And the other 6 were. Something like that has been kind of going on, which, again, I had no idea these hospitals were like basically on the verge of being bankrupt and stuff like that. I didn't know that. Then they had the one people that went viral, whether they actually went around filming hospitals. And it's online, and they're like, where are your COVID patients? These hospitals are basically empty.
Yeah.
So it's only like so many in certain hospitals. I didn't. That's something new to me. I just found out this week.
I guess I have heard about it, and what I've looked into it appears that obviously the whole idea of the shelter at home was to prevent a widespread of the disease, where people would end up overflooding, which certain hospitals did get flooded with patients and
Right.
couldn't help, and then they needed assistance. That's why
Right.
the naval ship came to California. That's why things have been put up in these pop-up hospitals, basically, or locations have been brought up. But my mother, before the shelter at home came out, she was supposed to have an elective surgery. And I remember her telling me that it was canceled because of COVID-19.
Yeah, see.
So, yes, there's a lot of places, and I've heard that, dental offices.
Right, I heard about that too.
Any medical offices that just dealt mainly with elective surgeries, they weren't really allowed to do anything. And so, therefore, they kind of got in trouble, financially, because they were closed themselves. The point is, at least in my mind, is that shows that the shelter at home has helped, but it also makes it look like there was no reason to do the shelter at home. So people are getting misled. And I don't know, it kind of goes back to where there's in California, and I can't remember exactly, like near Bakersfield or something, they had reported how people weren't coming in, their offices were, or the hospitals were empty. There wasn't that many patients. And there's a couple things. Is some people were nervous about going to the hospital and getting sick by going to the hospital for emergency procedures, or for incident, and then and then just overall elective surgeries were canceled. So their workload within the hospital was reduced. Now, if things that didn't shelter and they got flooded, they would have potentially been so busy they would have needed help.
Right.
So it's kind of which is the better
like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But and so these people have made cases that it's no reason to do the shelter in place. And then I remember, just kind of relating to what you're saying, I've heard people say, oh, it's going to affect your immune system because you're not getting good germs or whatever. And so my question would be, since it's only shelter, it's not like you're quarantined where you can't really go out any place.
Right.
It's not like Italy where you're only allowed to go specific places. But even then, you're still able to go out. You're not in a sterile home. So supposedly what are these good germs that you can't get from your home or near your home that you have to go around other people to get?
Yeah, you don't have to get that.
And the other thing I remember thinking to myself is, how long does it take someone's immune system to stop being able to take in these good germs when they do get back in? I'm sure it's more than 2 months, and I'm guessing it's way longer than a year, but I don't know that answer specifically, and I tried looking it up, but there's nothing to, there's no definitive answer for that. But I just want to, because I've heard these statements used. So.
Yeah. Their whole argument is your body is not building up immunity to different things coming in. But I think when you're our age, you've built up immunity to pretty much everything, unless something new like COVID.
Yeah.
Now, younger people like my daughter or your son and younger kids, they'll get back to getting germs and build up immunity to them. They don't got to worry about it. It's enough to go around.
And if the germs, and if the germs are kind of in, or we've had them, there's a good chance it's already been brought into the home anyway.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But, and then real quick, just go back to what you were saying about the openings and closings. Yeah, I just wanted to finish that. It's kind of misleading. Like, you never know what's going on. If people are watching the news and they're listening to Trump, he doesn't wear a mask for the longest. And I'm just going to lead into the next subject is, for the longest, the White House has not had no one appearing has been wearing masks.
Yeah.
They've all been, social distance to a point. But now that the virus has hit the White House, it's a little bit different in how they're reacting. So, again, it seems like, and this is a very good example, hearing if the news is reporting accurately and Trump is nervous or upset that people around him have the virus.
Mm-hmm.
That's how people should have been worried before. But he wasn't worried because he thought he was okay. People were getting tested every day, or who came in contact, and he just assumed, oh yeah, they're fine. Well, no, you could get tested, catch it, and boom, all of a sudden you're negative, and you didn't.
And it's funny. I also think it's a waste that they're getting tested every single day. It's like come on, Crispy. Yeah, everybody in the White House now is getting tested every day.
Well, supposedly it's only the people that come in contact with Trump.
With Trump. Oh, okay. I thought it was everybody.
That's what they said. So I believe it was probably everybody in the White House. But maybe they had to pull back because him when he has those briefings and he keeps saying that if anyone wants a test, everyone can get a test, and it's like no, there's only it's not even, what is it, 1 million tests for the nation, and if that's the nation, that's nowhere near what needs to to happen to make everyone feel comfortable about themselves.
Right. Well, then, as you know, in LA County, you can now. You can just pull up and get a test. You don't have to. You know what I mean?
Correct.
I wish they did that here. But now in LA County, you can just go get a test. Anyone can now.
I did hear that. And,
yeah, which is cool. I mean, but everywhere else needs to do the same thing, so that they and you know what? That's probably why LA extended it. Maybe they saw cases with all these tests they're doing. They're doing thousands of cases a day in LA County.
Yeah.
So
and
doing thousands of cases. I mean, tests a day in LA County, and maybe they saw a spike in cases. Probably why whoever did it was like, you know what? Let's take this till July just to be on the safe side. I don't know that many details, but that's just what I'm thinking, because they have been doing a lot of testing in LA.
And I've heard two things. That first is that they believe the deaths are actually higher. I don't know if you've heard that.
They're not reporting. Yeah.
So that statement early, that you were talking about, which I've heard, is that if someone dies and they have COVID, they're diagnosed with having COVID, it tends to be a COVID death. But I also read where if they have COVID, and people on the internet or on social media will say, oh, so if someone has COVID and then they're shot, they're put as a COVID-19 death. I don't think that no one's that ridiculous that they're doing something like that. But, if they have asthma and then they show up having COVID and they pass away before you can really, before you find out the test results, you might have to say it's a COVID-19 because the COVID does deal with the, the respiratory stuff.
Yeah. From my understanding, and what Elon Musk was explaining yesterday, no, it's not just stuff like that. I mean, they just, if someone else comes in or something unrelated, they just count it as COVID so they can get the credit, And again, not all, they're just doing some.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's just what I'm not there. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and, looking at and stuff like that. And then in Russia, it hit the Kremlin too. Putin's right-hand man just got it. And you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's hit the White House and the Kremlin at the same time.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder, now that Trump actually has people around him that are getting it, if he starts to now take it a little bit more serious, if he's willing to realize that his statements, even though he's still not wearing a mask, if his statements, if he's got to be careful with what he's saying, because he, I think, what I read or heard is Trump kind of got nervous or just realized that if him and Pence end up with COVID, Nancy Pelosi becomes, takes over.
That's a good point. Speak up the House. Yeah.
And him not knowing that has freaked him out, because
that's a good point.
That's the last thing he would want, something to happen like that.
Yep. And with him, all he wants is his economy to come back, because he's worried about getting reelected. Whichever one knows. He wants that economy to come back. really bad, and that's his issue. You know what I mean? But I wasn't surprised when it hit the White House, and like you say, maybe he'll take it a little more serious now. What I want to talk about? Oh, talking about taking it serious. You know, I know you've heard about how Jacinda Ardern is getting praised around the world for the way she handled it. You know, in 7 weeks, they got their cases down to 0 in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally 0.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as it hit, she took
They
action.
quarantined
Immediately. She took extreme action, and she was able to mitigate it and start getting back to normal. You know.
And the people, as far as I haven't heard too many protests or anything like that. They're going along with what she's what she proposed. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the bad part is you have someone, again, and unfortunately we always have to bring up his name, but Trump supports when people are protesting against Democratic leadership. So if it would have been people against a Republican, he probably wouldn't have said what he said. Like, he wants them people to come to a compromise, like the ones that stormed the state building, and they had guns on them,
rifles and all that.
Which all of them people should have been arrested, because we know that if black men or women had done the same thing and gone into a building with arms, it would have been a bloodbath. It would have
been a problem. It definitely would. Yeah.
And if we can have that lead into the killings that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about the kids?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we can. We can definitely touch on that. Yeah, because I didn't write any of the normal news down. I only wrote down the COVID news.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't write any of that.
People don't know about. There was a kid in Georgia who was jogging, stopped by a construction site, went inside for a few minutes, came out, continued his jog. Two men, a father and son, chased him down and ended up killing him after they got into a altercation. Like the kids, they tried to block him, and then the father or someone was outside the vehicle and either tried to grab him, but then they fought with the gun. Mm-hmm. And I know that someone had a shotgun, but then the son in the car, he also had a gun too. So they were, and then there was a person behind following them who filmed it all. What I'm saying? But obviously, no one deserves to be killed for jogging. No one deserves to be killed for going into a construction home and just if in the end all you did was just look at it, which people are curious, and that doesn't mean you're stealing anything.
Right.
And do you deserve to die for stealing? Not trying to put that as the extreme, but that is kind of extreme. But
he didn't steal, and even if he did steal a piece of drywall, that's like,
that's not worth. Is that worth? You
don't chase anyone down, man, and and it's funny. One of the first news reports I heard about this. First of all, my opinion on this is just another case of racism. Hate crime, someone being killed just because of the color of their skin. And when I first saw this report, I remember them saying, a black man and a white shooter, and they put that color on it.
Yeah.
I remember thinking to myself, this is exactly what I'm talking about. But I did notice CNN say African-American man. And you know what I'm saying? And that just sounds a lot better, man. Because again, whenever you say black, it automatically subconsciously makes you think bad or wrong or negative. Yeah. And it's okay in your mind for this person to be taken out like that. And it's not cool, man. I lost your video, but there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is, and hopefully, I mean, and at first these guys apparently went home. It was like nothing happened. And luckily, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation came in and arrested these guys. Thank God.
Actually, thank goodness that, because it took the video coming out,
Right.
because
For
it
them
was
to-
2 months
yeah.
after, previously
Yeah.
that this happened,
Yeah.
and to see the two people that felt like it was okay, or there was no reason to bring charges against
Yeah.
the guys who did it, and
Unbelievable, man.
the one prosecutor who said, well, he was reaching or he was touching the gun. What? Like,
Yeah, if
again,
someone approaches you with a gun, you're gonna try to defend yourself so you don't get shot.
Yeah.
Someone approaches you like, "What are you doing approaching me with a gun?" I'm just jogging. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, he doesn't have a right to like defend himself.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have approached them, he wouldn't have tried to defend himself.
tried to reach it. And the other thing is, like, I think they tried to say they were attempting to do a
Citizen's arrest or
citizen's
something?
arrest. I'm sorry. I understand the idea of a citizen's arrest, but you really have to have some good cause.
You can't do it with someone jogging.
You can't just stop someone, their progress for wherever they want to do. If you want to somehow follow them to wherever, and
Call the police do their
and
say,
thing,
hey.
but, yeah. And I know that I'm pretty sure that if they had called the police or were talking to the police would have said, back off. We'll get there when we can, or whatever. But
right, but
they wouldn't have told them.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just George Zimmerman all over again.
Yeah,
in all these other cases.
I just hope the results are not what it normally has been.
I don't think so. I really think people in America are fed up, and I honestly think they're gonna do the right thing, because if they don't, it's gonna be a lot of protests, man. I mean, I really think people are gonna get fed up. I mean, one last thing I want to say before we move on. It's kind of like what Tupac Shakur was saying before he passed. He was like, first you go, hey man, I want to be treated fairly. Then you go, hey man, and he actually related it to food, but it's the same thing. Then you go, hey man, and then after that you like shout a little bit. Hey man, I want to be treated fairly. You still don't get no answer. Then you start knocking on the door. Hey man, I want to be treated fairly. Then you're busting the door down. Hey man, I want to be treated fairly. Then after you bust the door down, then you're just going crazy. And I honestly think it's at the point to where, as a people, we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So so I honestly think, and I'm hoping that they do the right thing in this case, because it's on video, and no one has a right to die for going on a jog. I mean, I've been on many jogs, plan on going on some more jogs, and man, I mean, I'm licensed to carry in like 37 states. Do I need to not Cali, but shit? Do I need to? I'm actually going to work on getting Cali, but do I need to buy me a 380, a little pocket 380, and take it on my runs with me? In case two crazy Caucasians come up to me and try to accuse me of something.
Yeah.
If they come up to me, I've been trained. Like I'm busting before they even approach with their guns, taking them out. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, do I have to run around with my gun? You will know how I like to work out. I go on runs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, what do you do, man? And you don't want to take one incident from Georgia and generalize and say that, every city or county or neighborhood is going to be like that. But it does give you something to think about, that in America, we still have this same issue going on from back when we were hunted down in the slavery days.
Correct.
So that's all I have to say about that,
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But while we're on murder, let's segue into the security guard getting murdered for telling the family to wear their mask, and 3 of the family members ended up getting charged with murder. I mean, that's crazy, man. It's to the point to where you go into Walmart now and security guard, he's just trying to do his job. Hey man, put your mask on. I mean, how did that escalate? Well, you don't tell me to put a mask on. And I'm trying to fathom how that escalated. Like,
I mean, that one definitely felt like the normal. Somehow he felt his daughter was being disrespected, because it was the daughter the daughter, the guy said your daughter can't come in without a mask.
Yeah.
And for whatever, they're saying, I don't know what their excuse was, but then for the people to come back with the gun, or, it's just, that's the part that is crazy and I just can't understand.
Yeah, I mean, come on, people, you got to get it together. I mean, and in the reverse, I don't know if it was New York that you saw them slam the one brother down because he wasn't social distancing or something, and they like that was excessive force too.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, was that the where the guy, was he beating him or was it?
Yeah, he was wearing all black. Yeah, and they slammed him down. They was beating him up. I think it was New York. A couple
I might
of
have missed
officers.
That one. I might have missed,
because
but
he
I've
wasn't
heard,
social distancing or whatever.
But I have heard that employees at different stores have confronted people and asked them to put their mask on, and people have either spit at them, or what was one person wiped his nose on someone's clothing. That's the part that is kind of crazy, is someone's telling them to do something that's a public health,
right.
And people
and they don't want to listen.
Are just, and again, this is an extension of what Trump did when he got on TV, and he said that he felt people who were protesting, it was fine for them to do it, and it was their,
right.
That gives people more and feel empowered when, this person who's supposed to be acting as a president for everyone is only really backing up people that he feels supports him, and and that just divides things, because no one should get killed for doing the job that they've been asked to do. But
man.
It now means that I read that airlines were expecting all passengers to wear masks, but now if someone doesn't have a mask on, I also read they're not forced to make that person wear the mask.
Maybe it depends on the airline, because I saw United said they would give you a mask if you don't have one or something like that.
Correct. But I'm saying is, if you give it to them and then they don't put it on, what is the airline supposed to do? Are they going to kick them off?
Probably.
That's what I read that said, no, they're not going to enforce them. They'll say it, and hopefully people will, follow through. But there's no way that they're not going to do the enforcing part, because they don't want to have the confrontations. That's been going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they don't want to.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of, being the flights being federally like they are, people, are people going to get arrested? And then you've got the president or Trump, and then you've got governors who will change their wording or their statements that will allow. And what I'm referring to is the one salon owner who got arrested for giving haircuts or whatever, and she chose not to apologize for something, which that's the only reason why I guess she was put in jail, is she was supposed to apologize for something, but no, she decided to go ahead and make a point, which okay. And again, if you have the Republican side of the political parties who are backing people doing it, people just feel like, oh, then I don't have to do it if that person isn't doing it, or this leader is agreeing that I don't have to do it either.
Right. Yeah. Well,
it's kind of messed up right now.
Yeah, but Crispy, if you ask me, I honestly think Americans are too spoiled. That's what I think. It seems like all my civil liberties and this, that, and the other. And I'm saying to myself, people, had you done what New Zealand did, we'd be straight right now. If we continue to just do it until we're down to zero, we'll be straight. So whether you think it's a conspiracy, whether you don't believe it, whether you think they're sensationalizing it, whether you think they're just blown out of proportion for political reasons, this, that, and the other, if everybody just listens for a moment and gives it a good 3 months or so, maybe we can get to zero and then get back to normal.
Well, I think I do agree, and one thing I've also kind of come across is a few people who on social media will post stuff that makes you think that they're out there going with no mask,
Right.
touching people or just doing whatever, having parties and blah. But I'll read their posts, really deeply enough to find out that, they say that they stay home, they live by themselves, they haven't seen their friends in months, but yet they question the social distancing and why they should wear a mask.
Right.
Which kind of makes me wonder: are they just having fun by provoking people? Because they're obviously listening, but they're acting like there's no reason to listen either. They bring up like the and as you say, if we all could just take it serious for hopefully a short amount of time, and people don't violate, just do the mask, do the social distancing, and like you said, we can go out on New Year's. I think it'll. I've already said that July sounds like the good date they could have gone to, but places are already starting to kind of
reopen,
and that's going to. And unfortunately, I think we are going to be home for New Year's.
I hope not, man.
I think there's going to be a second wave, and we're going to be
That's
home.
That's what Fauci is saying, because they're going about it wrong.
Yeah, they're going too quickly. Georgia. They're not even. There's no guidelines. The guidelines that we thought we heard, or I'm sorry, there's no federal guidelines that have truly come out. They've talked about it, but they haven't actually put it out there. Like that Open America again. There's no guidelines that you can actually, compare to or go along with. So I know California did their own, and I think that that's great, but that means other states that just choose to not want to follow that are doing whatever. So it's gonna, it's gonna be, what are we at? 80? How many deaths?
80 something thousand.
And at one point we were hoping that
82,200. It's literally on the screen right now.
Okay,
and it passed 82,200. Yeah,
and we were in the in the 50s. I kind of was hoping that, man, maybe we won't hit 100,000.
Right.
But dude, we're gonna hit 100,000.
Right.
Deaths.
Right.
Deaths. That's people. And that's just because
people's lives. If it was your family member, you would look at it differently. And you want to know what I don't like, real quick, while we're talking about the deaths, are these false equivalencies. Like I heard Joe Rogan compare it to cigarette smoke. 500,000 people die a year smoking cigarettes. But I'm like, that's a false equivalency because people are making a choice to smoke and die from that. This is something that you have no control over that can hit your mom, your dad, your kid, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your brother, and take them out and had no choice in the matter at all.
Exactly.
So when people make all these comparisons, you haven't stopped people from driving, people die in car accidents.
What?
No, I mean, I'm choosing to drive. An accident can happen. We are not choosing this. This is just happening. You know what I'm trying to say? So
there's no alternative to it. If I don't want to
drive, you can take a bus. you can, you know what I'm saying?
I can't.
You ride a bike.
And with the virus, when a lot of people are thinking by reopening this herd mentality thing, and we've hit on it. And if we don't have a vaccine, and currently how it is, 85 to 90% of the 70 to 85% of the population needs to have been exposed to it, and we're nowhere near it. We're nowhere near it. And so people thinking that, then let me get exposed. Okay, good luck with I hope you get the right one.
Right. Because
are not that bad because you don't know.
You don't know how it's going to hit you. Which leads me into this whole East Coast West Coast version of it, which I didn't even know existed. Have you heard anything about that? They were talking about it on the news the other day that the West Coast version of the virus is different from the East Coast version of the virus. I'm like, when did that happen?
Well, I remember hearing there was an A, B, and a C, but I don't know how the difference is between the the code.
I don't think that's what they're talking about. They were just saying there's a different one that's on the West Coast and different one that's on the East Coast.
Jeez. So
It's like,
I will say I did read that, or I heard Fauci said that there can't just be one vaccine. There needs to be more than one,
yeah.
which is kind of interesting because I want to bring up this. There's this video called Plandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and in it, there's a doctor, a lady, who is making some claims, and I find it interesting that people are choosing to just believe her stuff 100%, but they don't really look into her background and stuff like that. But
Right.
It's kind of scary to think, it just takes people want to rationalize it or blame someone so badly that they're willing to accept just any information. Because in it, like I was talking about the whole Wuhan thing and how people were saying the Obama administration gave 3.7 million, and after just a quick little look into it, it was only 600,000.
Yeah, so I was
and
saying,
it wasn't, so but and the woman, she's also an vaccine person. She's got a book out. She's trying to make some money. The big, one thing that hopefully I try to, at least with my friends, is I want to give them as much information that I've learned so that they can make a good decision, but not to just believe anything out there. Like if you hear something, question that stuff, because it'll have you exposing yourself to things you don't need to if you don't take those steps.
Right. And it's funny, that lab that got that 600,000 from Obama,
the Wuhan Institute.
The Wuhan, it's apparently a level 4 lab, which I don't know what that means, but I know it ain't good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I also found out that the U.S. is not innocent. They have the same labs that do biological diseases and stuff. And I also found out that in 2018, that lab in Wuhan was cited for violating safety protocols. Okay. So it was cited once, I guess, by the World Health Organization or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was obviously problems going on with this lab before. Since 2018, they've been doing stuff.
Well, I guess what I would take from it is they definitely didn't follow something in 2018. So hopefully they fixed that and they were able to continue.
Yeah, they were violating safety protocols back then. You know what I'm saying?
But when you at least they got caught. That's what I'm just alluding to. Because, anyway, it's kind of like a working in the hospital. There's you want to be accredited, and within that you have people come in your hospital and they check to see how you're running, and they see if you are doing things everything up to
up to standard. Yeah, you're supposed to be doing it.
So that's why I'm just kind of
especially if it's a level 4 lab. I mean, to me that sounds like it's one of them labs that they're doing some dangerous shit in there.
Yeah, it
ain't just a regular lab. It's like it's a level 4 lab, meaning I'm sure, like I said, something's bad. Something bad is going on. And then they were talking about how the World Health Organization is in bed with China right now, and China was deceptive about the coronavirus from the beginning. And had they done the right thing, 95% less people would have gotten affected around the world. Had they told us when they found out, had they contained it when they found out, it would just be 5% right now. And right now, you and I would be at the winery sipping on some white wine instead of on Zoom doing a podcast like
this.
But
sipping on some wine.
Right, still sipping on some white wine. I didn't even crack none open, but that, man, like honestly, that just pisses me off, man. And I mean, I know people that was affected by it, and had one of my family members died from this, I mean, I couldn't be helped but be mad at the way China handled this whole thing. Yeah. And I'm not nothing against Asian people or Chinese people.
Yeah.
I'm not generalized, but just I mean, it's rightfully so. You have to be upset with the way they handled it. They could have handled it way different, and the outcome around the world would be different, right?
But now, if I'm I just wanted to understand exactly what you're saying, though. Are you upset at how China handled, or at how the WHO handled China? Because
Both.
if China misled, WHO and all the other countries, they were just as fooled as everybody else.
Well, apparently the WHO is in bed with them right now, because you have to look it up, but something about, I guess every nation every year has a chance, or so many has a chance to be like the leader of it or something. And right now it happens to be China.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, right now. So they were, the World Health Organization knew, and they, they were in bed with them. And instead of, saying, hey, contain this, put it to bed, they just, I don't know what exactly they did, but it wasn't the right thing.
Okay.
Because the thing leaked out, and you're going to look it up. I forget the terminology, but apparently China is like with them right now. I guess it changes every year or something like that. Yeah. Every other nation is able to, I don't know, man. Go ahead.
There's today there was again, different articles pop up, and I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, that said there's new ways the viruses attacks the body, which I think it was more of a headline, because all it said was one way that the virus you can contract it is through your eyes. And for me, I was like, didn't we already know that? Like, obviously mouth.
If you touch yourself in your eyes.
So it kind of seemed like maybe that article.
Which is why the mask is so important. If someone doesn't have a mask and you have one on, they're talking and the particles will go in your eyes. Not like you're wearing goggles too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which almost, it seems like you should be goggled, and so there is an extreme that we could end up going. And then another thing I was reading is one contaminant that people need to really consider and possibly change up is the fact of money, using cash as opposed to credit card, or
what about cards? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Cars?
No. What about credit cards? Instead of,
well, you don't normally hand someone. The only thing you are touching is that badge, but you can at least watch your hand. The thing is, with the money, someone gives you change. You don't know. I read that the virus can stay on cash on bills for 4 days.
Yep.
So that's a long time.
Bills are one of the dirtiest things on planet, bro.
Yeah.
So germ filled. And imagine before this, how often we handled bills and would touch our face or shake it. Man, I'm telling you, after this, never again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never again. You know what I mean? Come on, man. That's crazy. And
Venmo and all these apps, I'm going to have to start putting them all on my phone.
Start using it, man. Got to start using it. I want to touch on that, dude, and how Korea lifted, their social distancing. And the guy visited the nightclubs in the club district in Korea, and 100 people got infected. First, it was 43. And the new report came out today. It was actually 100 so far that got infected from that one guy going to those clubs. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when they talk about let's end the social distancing, I'll tell you what, San Diego, you guys open up. I'll let you guys go to Kettner Exchange. I'll stay here and let me know what happens. And I love Kettner Exchange. You know what I'm saying?
In another month, I'll see what the results are.
I'll see what the results are.
I got a bad feeling that, and I have, and part of me also realizes that people are, paying attention, are not out like some other people are or whatever. And so they're doing their, thing. And the bad part is the people who are, or what it feels bad is people who are actually listening and staying home, or, doing everything along, to save lives, are getting punished by those who not want to, and they feel like they're okay and they get to choose if they could want to contract the virus or whatever. But it's like, you contract it and you give it to others, and and it comes back a round way. To me, you've affected someone else.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
it's the point overall. What I want to get to is just that you're kind of damned for actually following the rules, because when this is, people, when it opens up too soon, if you're still listening, still quarantine, sheltering, taking your time, and when it reoccurs, which most likely it will, you've just been in the house way longer than you ever wanted to.
Right.
When the idea was let's chill and not do stuff for a while, and then we can get back to our normal lives. If we were, more like Australia, where they had zero, like you said, that's remarkable. And the fact that they did it, hats off, big applause.
Yeah, they did it the right way. I mean, we don't want to be like the company in Utah that refused to follow the rules and 68 of its employees got sick.
Yeah.
Or the meat plant where 17 people died already because they didn't want to follow the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on, America, like, come on. Whether you think it's a conspiracy, like I said, whether you think it's this and it's that, let's just follow the rules, and let's get this crap over with.
Exactly.
Last thing on my list is how they found that it was found in men's semen. So that brings a whole nother level.
Yeah. I did see that one too. That's kind of which makes you wonder, did they do enough research to see will it be in the woman's eggs? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But yeah, that's oof.
Yep. Who knows, man? kind of like Fauci was saying today with the hearings. Listen, I'm a scientist. I deal with this stuff. This stuff is new. I'm not saying I know everything, about this. It's new. It's impossible for me to know everything about it. And it's funny how as time goes on, more information comes out. Like for instance, how these babies now are getting those rashes and stuff, and babies have died. You know what I mean? I mean,
and
this
I
is a brand new thing.
I even saw yesterday, kids like 8, 9 have been getting a version of it, and it's a little bit different. Like, no one, the information that first came out, it felt promising because you would hear like, oh, you're not in that group. Like, oh, okay, well, I can just kind of live some life. But after a little bit, the more you hear, the more you find no one really knows. So you have to just kind of accept that what they're telling me may change, because as the more the more they do research into it, and the more people they get infected, you'll get a better idea. So
right, and you know what was strange? Those babies tested negative for the disease, but positive for the antibiotics. That's strange.
That is weird. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, who knows what they cooked up in the lab, Crispy? Who knows? The variations of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I would just say Mother Nature,
man.
Mother Nature is a bitch. If she wants to come at you, something can be released. And
oh my goodness, dude.
Actually, you know what's one? Okay, so there is something I want to bring up. I found kind of disrespectful. Mitch McConnell said that Obama has made some comments lately.
Yeah.
And
normally I saw that. It wasn't supposed to be get out. He didn't know the mic was on or whatever. Yeah.
And normally he doesn't really make that many statements. And I think he probably did mean for this to come out, because this like lately there's been so many statements that Trump has made against Obama, saying that there was some broken tests, but if after 3 years these tests are sitting in a warehouse and you've never done any, just not even a test, but you normally have emergency. It's a test, but you like go through a scenario of if this happens, and then we have to take this. How do we react to it? Yeah. And I'm sure, as far as I can tell, none of that had went on. So therefore, when this virus did get loose, there was no plan. And, and then the fact that there was a plan that they did have, they tossed it aside, just everything to make it seem like this would never happen. But then my point is Trump, criticized Obama. So then when Obama actually makes some statements about Trump, and how this is being handled, McConnell now decides that it's wrong for, a president or ex-president to make statements about the current presidency. But I've never heard him say
that. Yeah.
The current president shouldn't even talk about the past presidency. Because, so I don't like the one-sidedness that keeps coming up, especially with Mitch McConnell. Yeah. And I hope that he is voted out. He is. I mean, if I could do it, I would. Oh.
Shoot, I hope he's voted out too.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope he's voted out as well. That would be awesome. Well, Crispy, let's see what happens, man, as these weeks go by. I'm just waiting until, and I saw some stuff on the news about my industry figuring out ways for us to get back on set and stuff like that.
Sorry.
That's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But I'm just sitting back and watching and waiting, and hopefully.
A friend of mine even made a comment that this would be the perfect time for you guys to someone to do a virus-like movie, and using the airports that are empty, because they're going to look pretty spooky. Like there's a lot of people, but
there's been so many of them already, though. I mean, somebody's mentioned it to me a few times. There's been so many outbreak, contagion, this, that. It's like, it's been so many of them. But I'm sure once this is over, maybe someone will figure out a way to redo it and reinvent it and entertain a way to make us want to watch it again, like an updated version of it,
Yeah.
So let's see. All right, brother. I'm gonna thanks for signing on today.
Oh, thank you. Good, one more thing. Just
wanted to show. Yeah.
Two more things I have on my low list. The Michael Flynn case being dropped. I mean, I think we'll hear more about it.
That's some BS, man.
Yeah, it's an atrocity that, the fact that he admitted to lying, but somehow the Department of Justice cannot prove that he lied. Anyway.
Man, that's Bill Barr's letting them off. Trump's boys letting them off. That's all that is.
And also there was a whistleblower at the Department of Health and Human Services who says that they've been trying, when he was there and he reported what's going on about contracts going towards people that are supposedly allies of Trump. If that's true, that's sad. That needs to be looked into.
Yeah.
The whistleblowers being fired, which is like big time going on within this administration. I don't recall this happening that much in previous administration. So it needs to be looked into. We'll see. And then maybe next week we'll also have an answer to Trump's tax returns, because the Supreme Court will be hopefully ruling on that soon. So that's all.
Oh wow! I thought they had already said no the last time. They're like looking into it again.
No, he's so there's been the subpoenas. So there's 3 House committees that are looking for something, or maybe it's 2, and then there's another one, or maybe 2 House, 1 Senate, something like that. But they're looking for different tax returns or records about his companies and stuff like that. And each time it's been upheld that the House deserves to get the information, but Trump and his lawyers keep getting it. Not what's the word? Not an injunction, but delayed, so that they have to go to the next level. So
Got
it's
you.
now up to it's gone up to the Supreme Court. If
Got you.
check and read, all the other courts have always been on the side of the of the House, and the House has been winning. The only thing and even and they're not trying to get the information directly from Trump. They're trying to get it from like his bank or his firm or something like that. So it's not like it's personal records, but it's not coming from him. And so these banks are willing to provide the information. They've been subpoenaed, and the subpoenas have been upheld. So even though even though they've tried to block it and whatnot, it's up until now. So we'll find out the answer.
Interesting. Okay, we'll see. So everybody knows that he's a fake billionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody knows that. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in with us, man. Checking in with HPR Chronicles with Shakur Smith on another Wednesday in quarantine. We'll bring you guys some more COVID news next week and give you our opinions on it. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe on ICNT Group Digital. Hit that notification button so you can stay up to date with us and what's going on. And man, we'll see you guys next week. Smith, and stay safe, brother. And don't try and come and see me, like I always say. If you do, wear your mask.
If you come see me, you can bring some wine.
Right. So wear your mask. Yeah, let's see what's happening. Let's see what happens, man. I'm really interested to see how this evolves in the next few weeks. And when what we're going to be talking about as these states open up and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, I've already again. We'll have more data, more information, but it looked like the states that have been opening a little bit too quickly, there's been some rise in their cases. So
yeah, I saw that too. Yeah,
but we'll know more.
We'll know more next week, guys. All right, so it's the HPR Chronicles podcast with Shakur Smith signing off.
Peace.